Hello everybody, this is Carlos 369 Pro, and today we're going to be discussing what you should expect and helpful guide and tips to owning a Pokemon TCG business slash reselling enterprise system, whatever you want to call it, reselling, scalping, whatever that entails. We won't get too much into that, but that's what it entails: reselling, selling cards, or figuring out your business. So as you can see, for me, this is going to be my number breakdown for the year of 2025 as I started in 2025. And so if you can see the bottom number, you see the actual profit and loss. And if you don't know anything about accounting, that number right there, those little closing commas or whatever they're called, those closing marks, that represents a negative number. So if you see profit and loss, negative $1,091.89. So we're going to show you how the numbers broken down and how we got there, and to tell you certain tips and tricks to not be at this point, okay? Because, having this type of loss is, for me, in my situation, this isn't anything in the large terms, right? Except compound interest, long-term growth, whatever, opportunity cost. Yes, that's the factor you're considering. That's one of the things that this number, if it's negative, that's what you have to implement and really figure out what is actually figure out, oh wow, like am I wasting my time? Am I, I'm losing money, wasting my time. I could have been doing something better or something different. All those things. But if you are really, really wanting to have a TCG Pokemon card business, then, you should listen up to this video as I'll explain to you what the numbers are and how it actually works. In my situation, may not work out for you, not work out for you, but it may not be the same for your situation because the TCG hobby has different avenues. And so, my business or my, way of, selling may not be what you do, because some people sell sealed products, some people sell Japanese, some people grade, some people, do rip and ship. They have different, maybe some people do a little bit of everything, but mainly for me, I was basically buying singles, buying collections, and selling them on TCG player platforms and all that stuff. So let's get into this. Let's get into the breakdown, guys. That's what you guys want to see, the numbers. So first column, first row. I'm gonna try to show y'all a better view. So as you can see here, this is the 2025 Operation P&L for PokeFlip store. That's the store. That's what my store. That's what my store is called. Let me just fold this at the end of the day. I just put another one out. But that's my this is like the main breakdown. But as you can see, we have, oh gosh. We have sorry for that. So we have the main business. So PokeFlip store 2025 sales. As you can see, the numbers are pretty crazy. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I haven't sold much cards, but as we can see, the gross sales has totaled $5,896.67, and it was divided into which areas I sold. Either I sold it on eBay, Facebook, in person. In person is more of like Facebook or card shows, whatever. It's the same thing, but TCG player, that's where I mainly sold cards and whatnot. So $5,896.67 is really amazing to sell on for a first year business, handling that kind of money. But this is a real breakdown, guys, at least in my situation. And I know there's some things that contributed to the loss of this year, and that's something that I have to either make an improvement on or continue failing in the Pokemon space and losing money. and not having, losing money overall. But that depends. This is more for the business side of things. If you're a collector, a genuine collector, doesn't care about the value, doesn't really care about anything, it doesn't matter what the price is, then this video doesn't apply. This video is just like, oh, is it gonna be like, oh, maybe collectors are like, laughing at me in the comments like, oh wow, ha ha ha, you lost money because you're reselling and whatever. But I don't feel that necessary that way. I don't really care, because I don't know. I still have stuff, but but again, whatever the tangent was, I guess I forgot. I don't know. Interpret it how you want. Hopefully, it comes to the point, comes across to you. But from those sales, I had to pay fees. Fees are a normal part of sales, and that's okay. But I paid $717 with 28 cents to these marketplaces, to eBay, TCG Player, whatnot. They take their fee, and that's how they make their money. So that my left with my net sale, which was $5,179 with 39 cents. So wow, that's pretty crazy. You sold a lot of cards, you bought inventory, sold cards, and made $5,000 in sales, $5,180 in sales. But here's the thing, what you have to include, and there's things that you can include, and there's a reason why that number is there, and I'll let you know, which comes down to this other category, which is the expenses of purchasing product. So as you can see, my number for purchasing cards is $5,420. Now, and then we have another one of collectible cars and grading fees. Collectible car, I bought a collectible car just for the fun of it. Supposedly collectible, it's something cool. I like it, like the blue. And then the grading fees was, I barely did any grading because I know I didn't have many cards that were actually gradable and that were quote unquote worth to grade for that exponential value growth. But I did test my my ability and my luck on this lab, which we got a PSA 9. So I didn't, unfortunately, I lost money on that one. Not I didn't lose money, but didn't get the 10, and could have made a good chunk of return on that. But the $5,420.40 in inventory comes down to, in reality, it comes down to, what's it called? How would I explain it to you? It comes down for me collecting, participating in the TCG hobby, opening packs, buying booster boxes, opening, going to stores and purchasing packs, ripping packs. I know there was a good bit of it where I was just ripping packs. Definitely on the YouTube daily shorts, I was ripping packs every day. I was opening up sealed product, stuff like that. So that is included in this number, that 5,000, but I didn't sell it, or I still have it. I still have sealed booster boxes. I still have some sealed singles. I still have some high valued singles in my collection and my inventory, whatever you want to call it. So that can contribute to the P&L of the 1,000, the 100, but I would honestly say, even with that inventory being sold, if I were to sell it all at once, I think I would still be down maybe like $200. But I mean, I know why. And so that was one factor. That's the first factor, guys. What you have to take in consideration when doing this TCG business is, are you going to treat it as a real business, or are you going to mix your, the hobby and the business? Because if you mix the hobby and the business, tax purposes aside, that's a different whole story. You can't mix the two. But for me, in my experience, whatever, I'm just telling you guys my journey so far. I mixed both, and that was a not a mistake. But if you are focusing solely on the profits, solely on gains, solely on building a business and reaching higher revenue, making an income, do not mix the business with the hobby. It's kind of like when someone has an addiction, but not some, I don't know. Scratch that part, whatever. I don't know. I don't make sense of that. But don't mix your business with the hobby, because you're gonna end up ripping packs which have value, and the return won't get you as much. You're going to, you know, keep stuff and not sell it because you like it. And that affects your, you know, bottom line, affects your revenue, affects your purchasing power. And I think that's it. I think those are the main two things when you mix the hobby and the business. But that's for solely business purposes. And then the second factor that I know will contribute to this discrepancy in, you know, profit and the business is the condition of the cards that I purchased. The conditions of the cards that I purchased them at. So when I bought these collections, guys, I'm kind of a noob. So I was, you know, I was basically shooting myself in the. I was taking L's when buying lots, and that's a big thing that you have to be aware of and make sure you're not doing that, is buying lots where you're actually going to be losing money in the end because the conditions are wrong, or that you didn't look at the conditions correctly, or you just, you know, wanted to buy inventory. Like I was just wanting to buy inventory. I was just kind of like in these driven by like hype and emotion, whatever. I wasn't too good as that. I wasn't being firm, so I was like, oh, I was just buying these collections, even though I wasn't double checking them, and you know, some of the higher end cards had, you know, flaws, some of them had dents, and so, you know, I couldn't sell the card at the price it was worth, which meant that my revenue would be lower. So the profit or the percentage that I purchased it at didn't really matter. If I bought a collection at 70% and the cards were worth, you know, something like, you know, if the card was worth $100 and I bought it at $70 at 70%, but I didn't check the condition too good and it had a dent, you know, the card is now worth what, $70, give or take. Now, and fees, not including fees, you're down money, plus your shipping and materials, plus your time. So you're losing money on paper. You're losing money on paper and in the real sense. So that was one of the big things that I know contributed to that, which is the not checking the lots and buying stuff just because you want to buy it. So don't do that, guys. Don't, like, you know, make sure you're buying real, you know, quality lots that the conditions are what they state they are. Because if you're going to treat this as a business, you're going to lose money, or you're going to make money. You're going to lose money if you don't follow that. But if you follow it, you're going to make money because the percentage is where you make your money. I think not selling in person as well. I didn't sold too many times in person, so I don't know if that was a factor because I did pay a good bit in fees. And I sold like higher end stuff too, like Pokemon Center ETBs, booster boxes, all these other things. I could have sold those in person, saved me a lot of fees, saved the buyers a good bit of money, and we would have both won. So I could have made a little bit more profit. But I did get some really nice plays, quote unquote, when I was doing this, and I basically sometimes made a lot more money than when I bought it at. Made a good bit of change, and that really helped me because even though I did have a loss at this year, I know those plays, those those plays. If you're a vendor, if you're a a business YouTuber or a business like person, you're gonna get those plays, those opportunities where you buy a lot or buy a collection and you just make a good bit of money off of it. Those are the compounding plays. If you get those, are very rare, but if you do get those, that's an awesome thing to experience for your personal collection or the business side. Now that's the two things that I know affected the inventory. Probably not selling the bigger end items in person. The conditions of the cards, not checking those out and rushing to buy inventory when I should have been patient, should have asked, should have been more, like firm on the conditions. And three, I think mixing the business with the hobby. So by ripping packs and all that stuff. So now we're gonna get into the operation expenses. This is a business tuber, guys. So this is my shipping expenses. Now this is a normal part of the TCG hobby where you have to do this. This is something that if you're getting into this is a startup cost, quote unquote, okay? If you are getting into the TCG, selling on TCG online, especially online, you're going to have to purchase these supplies and shipping costs as well associated. You can navigate it by selling it on certain websites like eBay or something, but if you're trying to get more views, like more platforms is going to be helpful for you because it'll get more eyes out. Depending, it just depends on the card and the pricing and stuff like that. But these are expenses all in all that you have to get and have to continually have when you're making sales. So my shipping cost was $321. That included stamps. You have to buy stamps when sending it through paper envelopes, and stamps are not cheap. A roll of 100 stamps costs $78. So you do have to factor that in your pricing. You have to make sure your pricing is good. You have to make sure your money is where it's at. Like, you have to know what you're doing in order to make a profit. Shipping labels. This is something that actually affects the bottom line. If you don't know, if you are depending on how much leeway you want to do when shipping. So on TCG Player, it recommends you to do a bubble mailer, basically tracking anything above $20. I don't follow that. I do have a limit though, but if you were to do it constantly, especially if you buy cards that are like really expensive, like let's say if you buy a $40, $50 card and you buy it at 70%, I don't know the percentage, but you pay the shipping, or you pay your fees, and then you pay a $5 shipping label and the materials. That basically brings you down to possibly a break even, or maybe even a negative number. So, but you have to pay shipping labels when you sell those higher end cards or the higher value cards. Shipping insurance, I bought that when I was selling higher, very like expensive items, like $300 plus items, just to make sure that the items were insured. And then my supplies, again, these are necessary items for sending Pokemon cards, for shipping out cards, shipping out sealed, whatever you're using it for. And ink, printer ink. I didn't buy the printer. I have a printer. My printer kind of has it's very finicky when you print, so it's a need for an upgrade. But I don't have the money for that. Not that I don't have it, but I'm not trying to spend it on that. But I got ink. Ink's expensive. Top loaders. I was trying to calculate this, but I put top loaders $60, and I don't think it was that. Maybe it was, but I bought a lot of top loaders, and bubble mailers. I also bought ink stamp for my envelopes, card sleeves, a sorting tray, a scale, a bubble wrap, tape, graded card sleeves, acrylic case for the booster box, and then my last one is gas expenses. I didn't travel too much for the expenses, but I did include that for the business and hobby, but mostly for the business. I think that 200 is majority of the business, where I had to make drives and go to the post office and all that. And then all that set aside, we get to the end. Now, what do I think about these Pokemon business side of things? Now, this is for me. This was my experience and my way of what I was running the business on, right? Now, is there things that you can improve? Yes. And I do think that I could have been in the green had I, even if I had my all this inventory still. I still have 2 booster boxes, a $400 card, that adds up. I could have been in the green. But like I said, I feel like if you lock in with those tips, which is making sure the conditions are correct, not mixing the hobby with the business, all these things, those 2 things especially, I think that you would be able to make a profit. And I think I would have done so too. But this is not from this is not like, again, I'm in the circumstances where I guess I have the circumstances to do this. Some people, they can't do this. They're not able to lose $1,000 on Pokemon cards. Can you believe that, guys? I mean, we're the Pokemon community, so everything that we do is Pokemon. So, but can you imagine an outsider seeing you and saying you lost $1,000 on Pokemon? You're doing all this, but I don't think anybody told me that. But like I said, that's like the end of this video. This is the real raw video of what it actually means to own a Pokemon business. Now, I'm probably not the best business owner, as you can see clearly, but I like to give out some advice, I guess, to all of you guys that want to participate in the TCG hobby or business. Hobby is the hobby, but if you're in the business aspect of it, this is the business aspect of it. And I'm not even including the time that I took to ship all these out, make printing labels, pack them up, drive to the post office consistently. It's a routine, guys. It's literally like an extra job, and I'm not getting paid for it. But I'm not saying that I'm gonna quit or gonna stop doing this. I'm gonna continue to do it, unless I can't, unless life happens or I just get fed up with it and quit the hobby or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, and one last thing. I didn't even pay taxes yet. So that's why I'm making this video. Tax season is coming, especially those who have made money on the income of the side using this TCG hobby. You're going to need to report it legally required. Some people don't. Some people do. I don't know what the consequences of if you don't. I'm going to do so because I'm going to receive the 1099 from TCG Player. So I'm going to have to do it regardless. But for those that do sell on the side, cash only, in private sales, I don't know how that works out. I think you can bypass that. I wouldn't recommend you doing that. If you want to make a business LLC legality purposes, I think it's best to pay the taxes on it. So I don't know how this is going to work out with an accountant. With a tax prepper, when I go to my tax prepper, she's going to probably tell me what the literal, she's going to let me know what's going to be actually involved when I have to file my taxes this year in this side income TCG hobby business thing. I don't know. I don't know if I have to pay taxes, but if I do, then that number is just going to grow. Wow. I mean, I don't know. I think that might be my breaking point, honestly, if I do have to pay taxes on the net revenue, the sales, even though I've lost money because I bought, I paid a lot for inventory and I didn't make the money I was supposed to make. Not that it's no one's fault. It's my own fault, but that's crazy. So yeah, guys. So. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you watch this video and you watch other Pokemon content creators, shout them out. Say, show us the numbers. Tell your favorite Pokemon YouTubers to show you their numbers. How much have you made? Well, I don't know. I actually don't do that. It's kind of weird. I'm not sure. I'm just doing it because I feel like it. Shoot, bro, that $1,000, that one band loss is crazy, bro. Crazy work. Dang. But I don't know. I don't really care. Like I said, if you're mixing the hobby, then it doesn't matter. But yeah, guys, takeaway from this video is be responsible with your money. Make wise and sound